Good morning. It is really early. We are going to be doing a little bit of an update here. 4 a.m. update for you guys. This is typically a lot earlier than I typically stream, but just wanted to give you guys an update since we now have basically a better idea of what we can expect here. So yeah. Hold on one second. Oh, why did that cut out? Hold on. Anyways, what's up, gamer? Good to see you, my friend. Okay, there we go. I was going to put that in the chat there, just in case if people wanted to support us. But anyways, good morning, y'all. Hope you're doing well. So, like I said, I just wanted to hop on here for a minute to give you guys a bit of an update here on the tropics. Well, also severe weather too, mainly severe weather. So the Storm Prediction Center has a pretty large level 2 threat here for tomorrow, being Saturday. So we got a big day ahead of us on Saturday. Severe weather, tornadoes, large hail, damaging winds, even flooding will be a concern here for tomorrow. The Storm Prediction Center has a pretty large 5% risk here for tornadoes tomorrow. So the areas in brown has a 5% chance of seeing tornadoes within a 25-mile radius of a given area. So pretty good tornado threat for Arkansas, a little bit of southeastern Missouri, western Tennessee, western Kentucky here. And of course, we do have ourselves, the level 2 threat for tornadoes going all the way up even into Indiana here. So definitely kind of a big tornado threat here coming up for Saturday. Do I think there could be an upgrade to an enhanced? I mean, it's certainly possible. I mean, we're just going to have to watch it and see what happens. I mean, it's not for sure, obviously. There's a lot of limiting factors. We'll just have to see what happens, basically. I still have up the models from earlier when we were live earlier. So let's go ahead and take a peek at some of these. We should have the new O6 UTC run here. So looking at the instability, basically the fuel in the atmosphere here, you can see that, as we work our way down in time, so all of this here down below, this is all the instability in the fuel. As we work our way down in time, you can see all of that really starts to pull up into the country. And some of the heaviest of that instability is going to be out there for portions like Oklahoma, throughout there by like Texas, Arkansas. That's a combination of where we have some of the strongest wind shear as well as the strongest amounts of, or the highest amounts of instability. So that'll be kind of a big concern for severe weather overall. Found by chance says, did the threat shift? Thoughts it was in my area north of KCMO. Last time I looked, the Kansas City, Missouri. So Kansas City is indeed not in the risk for tomorrow, or not for Saturday, but today we do have that risk. So yeah, we actually have a little bit of a threat today as well. You can see the level 1 threat today, pretty low in terms of severity today. But yeah, it's really tomorrow being Saturday. Remember, it's a new day, so. But yeah, for Saturday, that's where the main concern is going to be. But yeah, Kansas City does have a level 1 threat here today. Thankfully, no tornadoes as of right now. Just a little bit of a gusty wind threat, a little bit of a hail threat here for today. That changes tomorrow, though. Like we mentioned, we do have a pretty good tornado threat here. Pretty big 5% risk out there for tornadoes. Here in the brown, and of course, the 2% chance, low-end tornado threat does extend all the way up here into Indiana here for tomorrow. And as far down to the south here is northeastern Texas, just east of Dallas here is where that tornado threat starts for Saturday. So definitely got to look out for that. Now, damaging winds, obviously it's, two really big risks here. The brown indicates a 5% chance of damaging winds, upwards of 60 miles per hour being possible, 60 upwards of 70 mile per hour wind gusts. Then, of course, across the yellow, this indicates 15% chance probability, so a higher chance overall for damaging winds out there. Once again, kind of ranging tomorrow, Saturday, between 60, some kind of worst case scenario, maybe upwards of 70 miles an hour. So we'll have to look out for that. Then in terms of hail for Saturday, not as much of a concern for the Ohio Valley for hail. More of a concern for the lower Midwest towards some of these central lower plains. You can see we do have a 15% chance overall for hail here. In terms of the potential for some hail between 1 to 2 inches in diameter. Some states includes Arkansas, Missouri, Oklahoma, Texas. So we'll have to look out for that. So yeah, that's once again a triple threat here: tornadoes, hail, damaging winds here for Saturday. So we really, really got to be looking out there for it. JP says, "Thanks for the early update, bro." Yeah, no problem, man. Yeah, I've been up. I just decided I'm going to go live real quickly for you guys and kind of give you guys a bit of an update because, like I said, Storm Prediction Center, they just issued that new risk here not too long ago. So now we know the actual probabilities, and it's a pretty big 5% risk for tornadoes here. A little bit concerning on Saturday's commute. This includes some pretty populated areas, like Little Rock, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, Paducah, Kentucky, Jonesboro, Arkansas, so these are all in the 5% chance risk area. Now, the 2% chance, the lower risk, still tornado threat does extend as far to the north as northern Indiana. And as far to the south as northeast Texas, just east of Dallas, including the Texarkana, Sulphur Springs area here, just a little 2% chance. So, more than likely we'll probably see a couple spin up tornadoes here. So we'll keep an eye out there for it. What's up, Jason? Saying liar. Man, SPC does not lie, and this is all factual. So, anyways, but yeah, this is literally SPC. I mean, you can do it yourself. Literally go to spc.noaa.gov. Notice how it says .gov on the end of it. That is government. Go to slight risk here for Saturday, which is tomorrow's threat. Go to tornado, 5%. There is nothing that's lying here. This is literally factual from the government. Anyways, Jason says, I hate you. Well, that's just very nice. Like I care. I literally don't give anything about your opinion, dude. I'm just here just to update people and keep everybody weather aware. So if you don't like it, then just leave. There's no place in the world for you guys. For people who act like that. It's ridiculous. Anyways, but yeah, so like I said, we'll just keep you guys updated with everything. Day 3, oh, look at that. They actually added a marginal here for Sunday. Yeah, I had a feeling that Sunday we were going to have a little bit of an extension, so we'll definitely keep an eye out there for that. They do include Ohio here, portions of eastern Kentucky, West Virginia, a little bit of the western side, kind of out there by the Blue Ridge Mountains here, Virginia. Also got Pennsylvania, part of it included, as well as western New York. So, Jason, you obviously have no idea what fear-mongering is. Fear-mongering is the people who literally make up stuff just for views. This is legitimate. Like I said, you can go to Storm Prediction Center's website, pull it up yourself. This is authentic. So, Ryan says, he does, doesn't he? Jason, he sounds like the one person that would be in the corner of a party having nobody to hang out with. But anyways, that's funny though. You're right, Ryan. But yeah, so we'll definitely keep an eye out there for it. I don't think we have anything on Monday. Yeah, SPC didn't have any extensions, so this is just next 3 days as of right now. What's up, Scott? Good to see you, man. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything is going good with you. It is good to have you here. Hopefully you're doing well. Like I said, I just wanted to hop on here. I'm kind of late to do a little bit of an update for y'all because you know, like I said, we got some new information come through. So, anyways, let's take a peek at some of the models here. You know, we were just looking at the instability and stuff like that. You know, we have a pretty good amount of fuel in the atmosphere. Lower level wind shear isn't anything significant per se. Don't think. I don't think we're going to have any significant tornado threat. I mean, at least as of what I'm seeing now. I mean, who knows what SPC decides to do, you know. It's totally up to them. I'm not part of the SPC. You know, get your, you know, get the information from Storm Prediction Center. That's, you know, that's where we actually grab all this stuff from. So I'm just relaying kind of, you know, giving you guys what the official forecasters at the SPC, Storm Prediction Center, have to tell you. You know, I'm just giving my take on it just to kind of help spread awareness and, you know, keep you guys weather updated and stuff. But, you know, pretty good amount of instability. And a lot of that fuel for these storms is going to be down towards the south, you know, out there by like Texas, you know, coastal Texas, Louisiana, you know, kind of eastern Oklahoma, portions of Arkansas. This is going to be throughout the morning and the afternoon here going into Saturday. So Saturday is the big day that we'll definitely be watching out there for. And, you know, like I said, not really anything significant, you know, with our jet stream. I mean, obviously we do have a decent lower level jet. You know, we have about 25, 30 knot lower level jet. I mean, it's decent, but it ain't anything, you know, super significant. You know, it's nothing 50 knots or anything like that. So that'll severely limit how strong these potential tornadoes could be. But, you know, still, there is that widespread tornado threat here that we'll definitely need to look out for. Carrot says, was surprised to see the size of the 5% risk. Yeah, that's, you know, that's the whole reason actually I went live with you guys, because I looked at it. I'm like, yeah, I think I should probably do a bit of an update for you guys. That way I can just, you know, keep you guys up to date with everything. Let's see, by the way, how are you doing, bro? I'm doing good, man. Hopefully you're doing good yourself. It is good to see ya. Hopefully you're doing good. Anyways, let's actually bring up the lower level jet stream here. Oh, that's geopotential height. Whoops, my bad. Let's try that again. Let's see here. Here we go. 850 millibar wind speed. So this is you know, just looking at the lower level jet there. So the heaviest convection is going to be kind of in the afternoon, evening hours of Saturday. You can see, I mean, we do have a little bit of a lower level jet here. All this stuff, all this behind here, I believe is behind the convection. So that's not really useful. Let me bring up the reflectivity here too. We'll bring up our composite reflectivity so we can kind of see where some of the storms are at. Yeah, so you know, it's really the front ones you got to really look for. The ones on the back side, they can be a little bit weaker, and you know, because the kinematics really dramatically change overall. I mean, you can see here. Let's actually do this. Let's go to single color. Oh, I think I did the wrong thing. Whoops. Don't know what I did there. Oh well, you know. But yeah, so you know, the winds drastically changed though on those back storms versus the front ones. You know, ahead we do have the, you know, strong northerly advection. You know, that strong northerly currents. And then on the back side we have that strong easterly movement. So it's, you know, it's a little bit different. Ryan says, I think tomorrow night over Kansas, we could get some interesting storms. What? Kansas City. I had a feeling. I thought that's what you meant. Yeah, I just didn't read the city part. My bad. But yeah, it looks like here, you know, Saturday morning here, according to HRRR here. Let me reposition this a little bit better so you guys can see that. Here's Kansas City over here. You can actually see HRRR does have a few pop-up storms, but honestly, I don't think they're going to be really anything significant here. Let's bring up our cape here to see how much fuel we have. I mean, yeah, we're under 1,000. I mean, we have a little bit above, you know, maybe 600-700 joules per kilogram. I mean, that's decent. I mean, it's not anything excessive. Obviously, it's low end instability, but here, let me look at our jet stream again here. We'll just do the barbs. Yeah, it seems like the kinematics are pretty weak over you though, so that should severely limit how strong these storms get. Because it's I like to explain it like making a cake, right? If you have too much or too little of one ingredient, it's not going to turn out right. You got to have everything just right. In this case, we're kind of low end instability, low end wind shear, so it will severely limit what those storms could do. But it is definitely something that we'll look into. We do have that level 1 threat though from SPC later today, like I mentioned. So today being Friday, we do have this level 1 risk here for severe weather for portions of Oklahoma, for Kansas, a little bit of western Missouri here included. This does include Kansas City here, like we mentioned, Wichita, Oklahoma City, Tulsa. We do have a level 1 threat here. Thankfully, no tornadoes today. Being Friday, Saturday is going to be the main tornado threat. But Wednesday or winds. I don't know. I'm losing my mind. It's 4 in the morning. My bad. But the wind threat here, 5% chance here overall for today. 5% hail threat. But like I said, once we work away into Saturday, you can see just how big the risk is. I mean, it's a pretty good size. That 5% tornado risk is pretty good size as well. I mean, this, like I said, covers some pretty big areas, like Little Rock, Arkansas, Memphis, Tennessee, Paducah, Kentucky, Jonesboro, Arkansas, Hot Springs. So, it's a 5% chance overall. Let's see here. Hanger says, where is this going to be? The central states. So the storms are going to be pretty much for the lower eastern country. So you can see where the dark green and the yellow is. These are the risk areas. These are the severe risk areas. The scale goes from a level 1 to a level 5. The higher the number, the more potential, the greater probability of severe weather, and the greater potential of more severe storms. And so essentially, the level 1 begins here in the dark green. Now, you might be wondering what the light green is. This is just a thunderstorm threat in the light green saying, hey, a few storms are possible. But the dark green, that's where the action starts to really pick up. That's where we have the level 1 marginal risk for severe weather potential. So the dark green, that's where that severe potential starts. Remember, this is Saturday. And then, of course, we have the level 2 in the yellow. That's kind of the highlighted area, the greater probability area here, which, this includes, the entire state of Arkansas, portions of, Texas, Louisiana, Oklahoma, Missouri, Illinois, Kentucky, Tennessee, Mississippi. That's where that level 2 threat is. So you can kind of see it's for the lower eastern part of the country. This does extend all the way up into the Ohio Valley too, including Ohio, portions of Indiana, Kentucky, of course. So, it's a pretty big risk. I mean, it covers a lot of area, which we're definitely going to need to look at here pretty closely. So, anyways, so hopping back over to the models here. We work our way down in time, and you can see, how we really pick up on this QLCS. I mean, this thing really just grows in size and everything like that. So, it seems like the stuff is really going to start to, the convection is really going to start to fire off here pretty much for the morning of Saturday. It's going to be going all throughout Saturday. The peak of it's going to be through the afternoon, through the evening here of Saturday. Which, some of that convection will, linger into the overnight hours here as well on Sunday here. So, anyways, that is that. So yeah, we'll definitely keep you up to date here. Like I said, Saturday and Sunday here overall. As, there is definitely a bit of a concern here for both Saturday and Sunday, and we'll also watch out for today as well, being Friday. So, but as of right now, the main day is going to be Saturday. So we have that big slight risk here we'll look out for. Let's see here. Ryan says large hail and winds are the big threat. What for today? Yeah. For today's risk, it's just a little bit of a gusty wind, a little bit of a hail threat. Nothing super significant today, but Saturday, that's, that picks up a little bit. Saturday's the big day we got to look out here for. But, hopping back to radar, you can just see, we have this cold front rolling through, it's that time of year, man. It's where you start introducing that cold air again into the country. That cold air coming down from the north. That continental air mass. That cooler air mass comes down from the north, and you got that. Still that warm, moisture-filled. Air mass from the south advecting northward. Fueling the moisture. Just that big thermodynamic gradient between cold and warm air. You can really unleash some instability and all that stuff. So yeah, definitely is that time of year again. So don't be surprised if stuff like this becomes more common over the next little bit. I think it's just a new pattern that we're starting to get into. So we'll definitely see. We'll definitely see what happens with that. But anyways, so once again, main threat Saturday. As of right now, once again, SPC does have here. Let's go ahead and overlay the categorical outlook here for tomorrow, being Saturday. We'll also drop that below the radar so you can kind of see. Maybe I'll turn down the radar just a little bit so it's not super. Right, there we go. Just enough so you guys can see the radar and stuff. But yeah, you can see. It seems like the main event's going to start sometime kind of around the early afternoon of Saturday. We could get some morning convection, across Oklahoma and whatnot. So, in the early morning hours, but, it's really going to be, kicking off here for the afternoon going into the evening here. Let's see here. Driving to Bentonville, Arkansas later today and staying the weekend for 21 Pilots concert. Nice. What's the tornado chances looking like? So today in Bentonville, Arkansas. Okay, so the threats for severe weather does not include, for today. But you did say you're staying the weekend. Okay, so I will tell you this. So all of Arkansas is under the risk for severe weather on Saturday. So Saturday is the day you need to look out for. Now, you said you're out by Bentonville, right? So let me pull this up for you. I got you, my friend. Let's see. Maybe, no, actually, I might have to look this up manually. Bentonville, here we go, Arkansas. Okay, so you're in the 2%, so you're in the lower tornado risk here. I mean, this is, odds of you getting a tornado is pretty low at a 2%, but, still need to be weather aware, still need to keep an eye on it, because, theoretically, the environment is going to be, capable of it, so, but pretty low odds, but yeah, not as big of a threat as it is east of you, but yeah, definitely need you to keep an eye on it. You are in the level 2 severe weather threat here for Saturday. We do have a 15% wind risk here. We do have a 15% hail risk as well. We're talking damaging wind gusts here between maybe 60, maybe at most upwards of 70 miles an hour. And then, of course, in terms of hail, we do have the potential up there for some hail between 1 to 2 inches in diameter, which is, right now it's not significant, which is good, but still, 1 to 2 inch hail, it could be a problem. So, 15% chance here. Once again, this is Saturday. 15% chance for hail across the yellow here, which includes a little bit of southwestern Missouri, a little bit of western Arkansas, eastern Oklahoma, and a little bit of northeastern Texas here overall. So there's that. Once again, wind threat a little bit bigger. The hail threat is not really a concern for the Ohio Valley. It's more of a concern for the southwestern side of the risk area. But yeah, in terms of winds here, you can see, the entire risk area is going to have it, just very, very common, during these QLCSs or these, squall lines, these long lines of storms here. Very, very common for damaging wind gusts. And, we could see some widespread damaging wind gusts, upwards of 60 miles an hour, possibly some worst case scenarios, maybe more upwards towards 70, could be possible. But yeah, 15% chance over here in the yellow and a 5% chance here in the brown. So, you guys can hopefully pinpoint yourself on the map here so you can kind of see where you're at in relation to the warning here, or sorry, in relation to the outlook here. Justin says, what about Aurora, Missouri on Saturday? Well, let me take a look here for you, my friend. Let me pull this up. Aurora, You said what, Arkansas? Oh, Missouri. Okay, got you. So let's see. You, my friend. Okay, so yeah, you're gonna be in that that level 2 threat out there. You're out by Springfield area. So regarding the tornado risk here, you do have a little 2% chance, which is honestly really nothing to worry about. I mean, obviously stay weather aware, keep an eye on the weather, but it's really nothing to worry yourself about over. It's 2% chance. It's pretty low odds. Statistically, that is a 2% chance of happening within a 25-mile radius of your location. So within 25 miles around you, there's a 2% chance here. So that's obviously pretty low odds, but 5% chance across the Brown east of you, a little bit greater odds, obviously. But you can think collectively, for one specific area. I mean, this is pretty unlikely, but collectively, given all those 25-mile radiuses you can fit inside of this whole outlook area, yeah, the probability increases quite a bit, of overall seeing a couple tornadoes. So that's something that we need to really look into, in which we'll be covering and keeping you guys up to date with everything. So, anyways, let's see. How's Hawaii? Hawaii's Hawaiiing out there. No severe weather risk or anything like that going on, so that's good. Let's see here. Brendan says, according to the latest HRRR, it looks like a wind threat. Yeah, that's definitely going to be one of the main concerns. We've been looking at the latest SPC outlook here. They did pull that 5% risk here, which is interesting. We'll have to watch it. But yeah, no, certainly, damaging winds will be one of the most, if not the greatest, concern here with the system. Also, hail. I mean, like I said, it's a triple threat. We got all hazards on the table here for Saturday. Even flooding, actually, which let me show you that real quickly. We'll hop on over here to the excessive rainfall risk. So this is tomorrow. So today, actually, we don't got anything going on. But Saturday, tomorrow, the big day, we do have a pretty decent sized, 15% risk area here for excessive rainfall, which, includes a little bit of southern Illinois, including St. Louis, Missouri there. So a little bit of a flooding threat coming up here for you guys on Saturday. A little bit of southern Missouri, obviously, northwestern Arkansas, little sliver of extreme northeastern Oklahoma. And of course, we do have the 5%, at least 5% is what it's classified as, at least 5%, which extends all the way down from eastern Texas all the way up to the Great Lakes, even including central Michigan, with that little level 1 threat here for flooding here. So that's that. Day 3, so this is extending into Sunday. Sunday, we have a little bit of a risk for flooding as well. Nothing excessive, nothing really crazy, but a little bit of a risk for flooding here for Sunday. And then, of course, Monday, as the system works its way off the East Coast here, I do believe we do have another risk over here. It's just not really one to load too well. But it will, we actually looked at it earlier, it was for the upper Northeast here. So anyways, so we'll definitely keep you guys in the loop with everything. We'll definitely keep you guys up to date with everything there. Tabletop says, howdy, Andrew. Do you think my area will be put under the marginal for Sunday? Thanks. Honestly, I doubt it. I mean, obviously, this is Sunday's risk that we have right now. We got a little bit of a threat across the Ohio Valley for Sunday, but, you being all the way down here, I mean, as of right now, SPC doesn't have anything. I think a lot of the instability will kind of fizzle out by the time it gets over there, so not really too concerned about your area, but anyways, so yeah, hopping back to the reflectivity here. This is from the 06 UTC HRRR run here, and for today, the front is already visible. Actually, I have the radar up above me. I don't know if you guys can see this here. There it is, right up there. So you can see eastern Nebraska. There's actually the front there. That's the system here starting to develop here. But yeah, looking back down, the models here, projecting this in the future, you can see, as we work our way throughout the day today, we could get a couple storms rolling through, a couple storms rolling through here and there, but it's not really until we approach, the later morning of Saturday whenever all this really starts to come into motion here. Let's see here. Brendan says the tornado threat will be there, but not very high. Looks more like a line of storms, not much supercells. Yeah, we could have some embedded supercells within the QLCS or the line of storms here. Definitely will be possible. I mean, just given the risk that we have. I mean, we do have a little bit of a lower level jet here. I mean, nothing significant. 25, 35 knot lower level jet here at 850 millibar height. So that's, in simple terms, not super significant. I mean, it could be a whole lot worse. Let me actually look at the helicity here. I'm really curious to pull up helicity. Models, we'll do wind shear, and we'll do their surface 3 kilometer. We'll just do 3 kilometer here. That'll work. Pull this up here. We'll load that up for y'alls. Okay, so as we work our way throughout, yeah, it doesn't seem like helicity is going to be super significant. I mean, behind the front, I mean, it picks up quite a bit, but ahead of the front here, yeah, nothing really super significant there. Anyways, yeah, once again, I mean, yeah, tornadoes can definitely occur, and we do have a pretty big risk here from SPC, but anyways, let's see here. Ryan says, where did Jason go? I kind of miss his trolling. I just removed him from the channel. It's like, I have enough stuff to deal with, and it's like, I don't have room for people like that. Anyways. But yeah, so like I said, today we even have a little bit of a risk here. Definitely not as crazy expected as Saturday is, not as potent, I should say. No tornadoes today, thankfully, as of right now from SPC. Just a little bit of a 5% wind risk today. We could see some gusty winds upwards of 60 miles an hour, could be possible. And in terms of hail, we do have that 5% chance as well, for portions of Oklahoma, Kansas, portions here of Missouri, western Missouri, I should say, 5% chance here overall. And then, of course, we do have Saturday. Saturday is the big day we were just talking about. Let's see here. Patricia says, I'm in South Mississippi, Hattiesburg. Is it Hattiesburg or Hattiesburg? I think it's Hattiesburg, pretty sure. Let's see, what should I expect and when? Well, it's good to see you, my friend. So Saturday, SPC barely has you in the risk here for severe weather, but I mean, you are in the marginal. We'll definitely keep an eye out there for it. So you are in the risk here for Saturday. Okay, so Saturday we do have a level 1 threat here for severe weather. Good news, as of now, tornado threat does not include you. Now remember, this is going to be evolving a little bit. The risk, what it looks like now, will probably look a little different by the time we come to day 1. But as of now, no tornado risk here for you on Saturday. It seems like a little bit of a wind risk here, a little 5% chance for Saturday for you. Not even hail. Yeah, the hail threat's more of a western concern. So if you look at the overall picture, this is the whole risk area, the dark green and the yellow. So this is the whole risk area for Saturday. If you look at just the hail alone, you can see it's mostly just for the western side. The upper northeastern side, it's just not as supportive for hail as the western side is. Yellow, that 15% chance for hail every 25 miles of a given area. And then, of course, we do have the brown, the 5% chance here. But anyways, for you, yeah, I mean, we're just seeing a little bit of a wind threat here, just a little 5%. But we'll see what happens. We'll definitely see what happens. Let's see. Ryan says, this is Kansas, bro. We can be good 1 minute, then have a tornado the next. Weather's been very weird here lately. Yeah, and, especially during fall, it can tend to do that. Because Kansas is kind of in an interesting spot. You're kind of between where you can get a lot of that advecting warmth from the Gulf, if the winds are in the right direction. And you can also get some of that, continental cooler air mass coming down from the north. You're kind of in the mixing zone. So, yeah, it can be a little interesting out there. The weather's definitely a little interesting. Let's see. Patricia says, okay, thank you. Yeah, no problem. No problem. Let's see, very intense lightning also. Yeah, I mean, these will probably be somewhat energetic storms here, with lightning content and everything. So, obviously that's another thing you guys got to look out for too. Is just, if thunder roars, go indoors, stay away from windows. It's just safe to be inside. You don't want to be outside during, any of that. So, anyways, what's another thing we can look at? Actually, you know what we're going to do? I'm going to bring up the COD models here. It's just a lot easier to switch through stuff here. So let me move this over just a little bit. There you go. So you guys can kind of see it a little bit better. But still, same model, same run. Nothing's changed with that. But yeah, I mean, you can see everything really starting to take shape here pretty much for the morning, afternoon of Saturday, and it's just going to continue throughout the day here. As we work our way throughout the overnight hours going in from late Saturday and the early Sunday, a lot of that northern convection would likely start to fade out a bit, but the southern convection will likely last a little bit longer because of greater amounts of instability. And stuff like that. So, anyways, COD models, what level? Man, that's pretty funny. Yeah, it's College of DuPage. This is just a classic site, man. I've always used this for probably 7-8 years or greater. It's one of the first model sites I've used. It's still just basic for me. Anyways, but yeah, you can see, so we'll hopping back here to kind of the afternoon of Saturday, and you can see all that instability here, all that fuel for the storms, really advecting north. We got that cooler continental air mass coming down from up north, bringing that drier, cooler air. Then you got all that warm, moisture-filled air, literal polar opposites, coming together, which, really generates quite a bit of instability here. But a lot of that moisture will advect north, and looking at those dew point temperatures, I mean, you can really see that. You can just see that flow. You see how everything's just kind of getting pulled up to the north here. We do have it low up to the northeast here, which is the main driver here. So with that continental air mass, pushing the cool air to the south, from up north. And then you got that more tropical moisture coming in from the south, pulling to the north here. Because let me actually bring up my pen here so I can kind of maybe draw a little sketch to maybe make things a little bit easier for you guys to understand. So we have an area of low pressure that's it's not right here, but it's further up to the northeast. So basically, these guys, they spin in the northern hemisphere counterclockwise. So they're spinning this direction. So basically what happens is, you get that movement that starts to pull up north, that warm air coming up from the south, shoots to the north, kind of gets caught up in that low. It's like a big mixer, essentially. And then you got that cooler air, coming down. And then, of course, the point where they clash is the cold front there, just two air masses or one air mass overtaking another. Anyways, so yeah, that's just a little bit of a sketch. But yeah, you can really see the motion though, right, especially here for late Friday going into Saturday, just all of that moisture coming in, really going to be given a pretty good amount of moisture for these storms here. I mean, yeah, the dew points are well in the 60s. The blue here indicates 60s, which is just perfect for storms. Especially the closer you get to the Gulf here, I mean, you could see just how high some of these dew points could get. I mean, HRRR does suggest for the afternoon of Saturday, maybe eastern Texas dew points in the mid-70s. That is going to be brutal. Yeah, anytime you get dew points that high, man, it is muggy. It is real muggy. I mean, even if the temperature is 70 degrees, if you have a dew point of 70 as well, obviously humidity would be 100%, but a lot of people, honestly, you guys should really go off a dew point scale instead of humidity whenever you're talking about mugginess. Because, 60-degree dew points can be a little muggy. 70 is just borderline miserable. But yeah. Yep, so definitely going to be noticing some pretty muggy conditions out there, especially for eastern Texas, coming up for Saturday. So, I mean, that's pretty early too, man. That's early in the morning. It's going to be very muggy, a lot of moisture coming in. Let's see here. That's some pretty intense cape. What's the dew point? Well, we've been talking about the dew point. I'm sure you've probably seen it. But yeah, we're mostly going to be in the 60s. Some areas up in the 70s, especially out there in eastern Texas. Let's see. So Shreveport, Louisiana is in that or not? So Shreveport, so that's northwest Louisiana. So Shreveport's gonna be pretty muggy. Yeah, upper 60s, maybe lower 70 dew points. You can see that cold front coming through pretty much later Saturday, kind of in the evening here. As of now, SPC does indeed have Shreveport in the level 2 threat here for Saturday. So that's a 2% tornado risk here, 15% wind risk, and a or less than 5% hail threat. So no hail, no significant or no damaging hail is expected for you as of now. You know, the risk could shift a little bit, so keep that in mind. But as of now, yeah, just 2% tornado risk and 15% hail risk, or sorry, damaging wind risk. Let's see here. It's always, and when it comes to storms, it's a magnet. Well, for Louisiana, yeah, I mean, you guys are right there in the, you know, right off the Gulf here. You know, you always got that moisture coming in. So, I mean, yeah, you guys are just, you know, geographically in an area where, you know, you get a lot of those storms. You know, the reason you don't see much storm activity in the West is because, you know, there's not as much moisture. It's not as saturated, I should say. Not as moisture, or not as moisture. I need to go to bed. Not as moist as the East is. You know, the Gulf really plays a significant role in a lot of these severe weather events and stuff. You know, that's why sometimes during wintertime, I mean, you get some pretty decent severe storms down south, is because, you know, you still got some tropical or subtropical moisture coming in. I've seen the CSU outlook. I have not, my friend. Yeah, I literally just saw SPC's outlook, and I just decided we're gonna hop on here for a few, just to kind of give you guys a bit of an update. You know, we were live earlier, and I mean, I was just still up. I'm just like, yeah, why not do an update? I think I should just give you guys a bit of a update on what's going on, especially with that new update we got from SPC. That's what made me want to go live for you guys again. The wind is the highest threat. Yeah, definitely. I mean, considering that's the greatest probability. I mean, it obviously shares the same probability for hail, but the risk area for damaging winds is larger than, you know, the hail and the tornado threat here, you know. So yeah, absolutely. You know, and like I said, that's pretty common though for these systems. You know, these linear systems, they are wind bags. They usually produce quite a bit of wind. So speaking of wind here, let's hop back to models here. Let's go to surface. We'll do accumulated max wind gust. Now, take note that this is not going to be anywhere near accurate. This is just kind of me just want to look for, you know, why not? But yeah, I mean, you could definitely see that, you know, we could definitely get quite a few strong wind gusts here. Remember, like I said, this is far likely from being anything what actually happens. I mean, we got some storms that could definitely be pretty gusty. Yeah, don't take this literally. But you can definitely see, you know, some of those swaths there, you know, those just from that wind coming through. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's definitely it's gonna be pretty windy for quite a bit. I mean, even you know, the non-convective winds, you know, just from the pressure gradient, just in general from that low, is you know, going to really spark up some gusty winds out there. You know, probably for the Central Plains and the Midwest, we'll definitely be getting quite a bit of gusty winds out there. Maybe 30, upwards of 40-mile-an-hour wind gusts here. So, anyways. So we'll definitely watch it, and you know, like I said, bottom line, we'll just keep you guys up to date with everything. I'm gonna make a video later today. Probably need to get to bed soon. I am whooped. I'm surprised I can still function, given how long I've been up. So, but like I said, it just so happened to be up, and I just saw the new SPC outlook here, and I was like, yeah, we'll just do a quick little YouTube short live for you guys. So, but if you guys have any questions, let me know. I'll be heading off here pretty soon, so just throw down any questions if you guys have any. I will do, some personal forecasts if you guys want me to look at a specific area. Now that I can actually, pinpoint, probabilities for you guys. So if you guys would be interested in that, just throw down your zip code, and I'll put it in the program here, and it'll bring me over there, and I'll just tell you what you got from SPC. So, weather-wise, they have different cape functions and models. Which one is lost? Wait, what? Oh, I forgot. You know what? I don't know why, but I forgot that weather-wise has models. How did I forget that? Oh well, it is what it is. All right, Craig, I got you, my friend. Here, let's take a peek and see where you're at here. So, oh, you're in Southern California. Yeah, you don't got nothing severe weather going on here. Actually, one thing I do want to do for everybody is look at the amount of rainfall throughout the next 1 to 3 days. Whoa. Okay, first of all, Craig, you're good for the next 3 days. It doesn't even look like we're gonna get any rain out here. But look at this. Looks like we're going to be getting quite a few inches out here. So this is the rain accumulation over the next 1 to 3 days from the WPC, or the Weather Prediction Center. Maybe 2.5 inches across a lot of the Ohio Valley, between Ohio, Indiana, and Michigan. The blue kind of down into, right around 1 inch territory. The green is, pretty much less than a half an inch. So anyways, definitely the hot spot's going to be up there towards the Ohio Valley. So anyways, Brendan, I don't have that on my computer right now. Let's see. Jason, I got you, my friend. Let's see here. Maybe we'll look at it. Maybe I'll get it set up and we'll look at it another time. Maybe later today. I just want to do a couple zip codes for you guys, and then we'll roll off here. All right. Okay. So, Jason, you are not in any risk here for any severe weather or anything like that. You can see there's really no precipitation expected nearby in the next 3 days. I mean, I'll even do the extended 5-day outlook. We could maybe pick up a little bit of trace, maybe a trace or two. A trace to 1/10 of an inch. Like 7 days, nothing even. Yeah, really dry. We do got some freeze warnings, especially for those upper elevations there. Wow, those are going all the way down into New Mexico now. Look at that. So what's this? Frost advisories. I know we had a winter storm or winter weather, or was it winter storm watch? I think this was a while ago. We had a little winter system come through up north for Idaho. Anyways, Brian, I got you, my friend. Let me pull this up here for you. Saying please, thank you. Yep, no problem. I got you. Okay, so yeah, you're in Michigan. So you're going to be getting possibly pretty good amount of rainfall. So once again, this is not SPC. This is WPC, Weather Prediction Center's rainfall outlook for the next 5 days. So between today all the way to 5 days from now, this is the amount of accumulation we possibly could see. Anyways, so maybe 2, maybe 3 inches. Obviously, locally higher amounts will be quite possible. That's over the next 5 days. Now, severe weather-wise, you look pretty good. Yeah. Maybe some storms. We could feel maybe some booms of thunder, given we are in the thunderstorm risk for Saturday. So just don't be surprised. But just a bit of rain. Doesn't look like anything heavy convective. The main risk is going to be a lot further south of you. So anyways, but yeah, you'll be getting quite a bit of precip from it. You'll be getting a bit of that moisture. Once again, 2, maybe 3 inches. Locally higher amounts could be possible out there. Possibly a few rumbles of thunder mixed in, given you're in the thunderstorm risk here. But yeah, that's really about it. I mean, nothing really crazy, nothing to really worry about. Just a bit of rain coming in. Many things. Yeah, no problem, dude. I got you. But yeah, like I said, if you guys have any area you want me to look at, let me know. Also, taking a minute for the tropics here. We do have 2 storm systems here. We have one that's going into the Caribbean. This actually has an overall 30% chance of formation in the next 7 days. So it's possible. You know, it's not super likely right now, but we'll continue watching it. Next 48 hours, next 2 days, 10% chance. Unlikely to do anything in the next 2 days. We got another storm northeast of Bermuda. Just kind of stuck out there in the North Atlantic. Yeah, I mean, not really expecting much on this one either. Yeah, 10% chance overall formation, both throughout the next 48 hours in the next 7 days. So, anyways, just wanted to mention that real quickly. But we'll definitely keep an eye on the tropics. You know, if this storm becomes a problem, which it could, it's just too early to tell. We'll let you know. I mean, the waters out there are still pretty warm out there in the Caribbean Sea. So, and in the Gulf too. The Gulf and the Caribbean is still very warm. So we'll see what happens. You know, it is more common for this time of the year to get more tropical activity in these bodies of water, considering the fact that we do get a lot of fall frontal systems coming through. Tropical systems sometimes love to develop off of trailing cold fronts. So that's something, you know, that's not an imminent danger right now, but it's just a pattern that we tend to see at this time of the year. So we'll have to watch that body of water. Anyways, what's up, Patriot? Good to see you, my friend. Saying, hey, boss, what about Northwest Alabama tomorrow and Sunday? So, Northwest Alabama, we do have a risk for severe weather. So, I'm just general area towards Florence, you know, Birmingham, Huntsville area. We do have ourselves, a marginal level 1 threat here for severe weather. Now, this does include a little 2% chance here for tornadoes, you know, up there by the Florence area, which is pretty unlikely to get a tornado. But, you know, there is that 2% chance there. I mean, we cannot rule it out, so just keep an eye out there for it. Main concern is going to be, you know, a bit of gusty winds, maybe a little bit of gusty winds, not even a hail concern. The hail threat's going to be west for the most part here. Yeah, so just a little bit of a wind threat here overall. That's really about it. So, and then of course you said Sunday. Sunday, the risk does not include the south here. Yeah, but we do have a bit of a risk up by the Ohio Valley, but it's mostly going to be Saturday where we could have a little bit of a gusty wind concern overall. So anyways, hopefully that helps. Now, with the overall rainfall, like we talked about here, this is throughout the next 5 days. You know, we could pick up maybe an inch or so. Just a little bit of rain could be possible. You know, a little bit of rain, nothing excessive. But anyways, yeah, most of the rain out of this event is going to be up there by the Ohio Valley, especially for Indiana, Michigan, and portions of Ohio, you know, specifically central western Ohio, getting some of the heaviest of it. So if you're out there in those states, that's where a lot of the water's going. So just a bit of a heads up. And, you know, like we mentioned, we do have a excessive rainfall risk, so a flooding risk here for tomorrow. Tomorrow's flooding risk is going to be the greatest concern for southern Missouri, northwestern Arkansas, and southern Illinois. So, what's up, Susan? Good to see you, my friend. Hope you are doing well. But anyways, everybody, we're going to roll off here very soon. If you guys want me to take a look at any more zip codes, just let me know. We'll just plug them down in the chat. We'll, you know, grab them. We'll take a look. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. You know, totally up to you guys. But I will tell you this, it could definitely come in handy, and we'll definitely keep you guys up to date with everything. And like I said, I get everything from the, you know, official meteorologists, from the government, you know, from the National Weather Service and WPC and whatnot. And obviously, you know, I'll give my takes on everything as well. But just to show you guys that, you know, what we're telling is truthful and, you know, is honest. And so we'll definitely keep you guys up to date. So, but we'll get through this. You know, it's just a little bit of an episode of severe weather. You know, we'll watch it out for tomorrow's being Saturday. We'll give you guys another video update later today, and we'll go live for you guys later tomorrow night, or later tonight, I should say. So, anyways, Divine says, thank you. Yeah, no problem. You guys are very welcome. You know, I'm glad to be here, glad to help out. It's the whole point of the channel. You know, I just love weather. I just love tracking weather. So, and, you know, of course, whenever I can help out people in the process, it's awesome. So I love doing this. just on my own time. So, anyways. But yeah, guys, going once, going twice. If anybody has any questions, I am here for the next few minutes. So, but yeah, I'm not sure what time we're going to post the video or anything like that. It's just depends on when I get up and stuff, especially with me being up this late. I really need to go to bed. It's 5 in the morning. Man. Yeah, just like I said, I've been up for a little bit, saw that new SPC Outlook come out, and I'm like, yeah, we're just going to do a quick little live stream with you guys. So, anyways, all right, here we go. What about hail size for the zip code? So most hail size, thankfully, is not going to be significant. Let's see here. Okay, so as of right now, it is not a significant threat. So this is a 5% chance for hail. So in this area, you know, the odds of you getting severe hail is pretty low. It's a 5% chance within a 25-mile radius of your location. Now, you obviously want to know the hail size. So this is going to be mostly between 1 inch in diameter to 2 inches in diameter, you know, mostly between the two. You know, so basically quarter size to 2 quarters, basically. So yeah, you know, hail shouldn't be anything significant. You know, it's not a hatch risk, obviously. It's nothing 2-inch plus or anything like that, so we're good. So, but still, you know, quarter size to 2 inches in diameter could still be a little bit of a concern for hail. But yeah, that's really about it. Anyways, hopefully that helps, my friend. But yeah, guys. All right, everybody. Well, we're going to roll off here. Going once, going twice with any last comments or questions. I'll be more than happy to help. And we'll be back here tomorrow, or I should really say today. We'll be back here later today with you guys. If you're new to the channel, consider subscribing. I'm not going to hold you to it, but just consider it. Maybe leave a like. Maybe share this to a friend or a family member, or neighbor, coworker, whoever. Just to help spread the awareness, and that way, you know, we can keep everybody on the loop, up to date with the weather and everything like that. So anyways, folks, well, I appreciate y'all for joining. Thanks for tuning in with us tonight, or I should say this morning. You guys have a great rest of your day. If you are going to sleep, have a good sleep. If you're going to work, have a great day at work, school, whatever you guys are doing. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. But all right, everybody, thanks for joining. You guys take care. Have a wonderful rest of your night and morning, and we'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out, my friends. See ya later on.